All right. Bang. Bang. We got a WGC. Wait, it's not a WGC event. Price will let us know that it kind of is in a way. Dustin, that is an ugly orange. Like there's burnt orange and then there's that orange.
I gotta go off orange since my Longhorns are effing depressing me right now. So
maybe like a Oklahoma State orange.
Maybe it's a little blend.
Is that a Ricky Fowler orange?
Yeah.
For missing the cut last week?
Yeah, he burned me, so might as well sport his colors.
I dig it. Look at that. We're all three wearing DFS Dads shirts.
First time ever.
Yeah. Price is on a diet. He only eats how many calories a day?
2,000. I don't want to talk about it.
2,000?
Yeah.
I thought you were on a diet. 2K is not a diet.
That's starving yourself.
I burn 23.50 a day.
Just by sitting.
So I don't know if you know how math works, but 2,000 is less than 23.50.
But that's without working out, huh?
No, that's with working out.
No, you burn more than that for sure.
I sit on my ass all day at work.
Yeah, touche.
Oh man.
So are our friends going to be able to purchase some shirts soon?
Yes, they will.
All right. So if anybody wants a shirt in the comment section below, say, yo, I want a shirt. And Price, it's up to Price to follow through on the shirt gig. So accountability is a good thing, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's have some fun. Let's have some fun tonight. Price. All right.
Yes.
So, we gonna make some money this week?
I think so. I made my main lineup sucked because I had Ricky Fowler in it last week, but I did the MME build and had old Party Marty Laird and a handful of lineups who brought in the win for me.
Nice.
So the nice thing was, I think I ended up playing $60 total on my MME lineups, and I made $370 off of it.
It's a good return.
So it worked out well, and that's with Cantley shooting the bed on Sunday. So if he just has a mediocre day, then I could have had a couple of grand, which would have been really nice off $60. But it's a good learning experience. It's kind of fun to try it out, and I'm gonna go back to. I think this is another good week to do it. Just because you look at this field, it's only 78 people, so 13 are gonna miss the cut.
So if you miss the cut, you're kind of screwed. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
I thought this was a no cut.
Is it a no cut?
I'm pretty sure it's a no cut.
Yeah. Well,
so you're really screwed if you miss a cut.
Yeah.
So this is a WGC.
So, to be fair,
this is embarrassing.
This diet is fucking killing me. So I'm this like 6'5", 300-pound fucking monster who's used to eating like 5 full fucking meals a day, and now I'm eating what like a middle school child eats in a day, and it's the worst.
Oh, I'm dying over here.
I literally came home and ate a plant-based burger, and I'm having a fruit smoothie for dinner.
Oh.
But yes, so 78 players, there is a cut.
No, there's not a cut.
There's no cut. Sorry. There's no cut this week. It's the
This guy can't live off 2,000 calories.
And this is only day 5, so it's going to get real fun when we get the NFL pod in 2 days.
Yeah.
So this is usually played over on the Asia swing, except due to COVID, they're staying on the West Coast. So they're actually going to play in Vegas at Shadow Creek, which is where Phil and Tiger had the match. So that's really the only data we had to pull off of this is their match. But so anyone who played last week, they're still here because it's in the same town. It's plays at 7,500 yards roughly, but with the same elevation, it's going to be a little bit shorter. You got bent grass greens, which are probably the purest greens to put on of any surface, with the Bermuda, everything else. The rough, I saw some pictures today. It looks like it's a little high. I don't know if they're going to cut it by Thursday, but this would be one. So with the 78 people, there's a handful of Euro guys or like cheap 6K guys who got in who I'm pretty much just going to completely disregard. Because you look at how top heavy this field in, you have pretty much the entire top 30 in the world playing. I think it's Bryson and Reed are the only two not here. But everywhere else, I mean, we got Rahm, DJ, Rory, JT. They're all back.
The two most likable guys on tour aren't playing?
So this should be a lot better week than last week. Someone like Martin Lair's not going to win this week. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be one of the top 12 price guys who win.
Has to be.
I mean, Martin might even miss the cut this week. Well, we just got demonetized. Thanks, Bryce. All right. So I don't know about y'all, but bankroll management is key this week. I don't want to go as heavy this week. It's just like a WGC event. If you've been with us for a while, you understand. I don't know how to cash a WGC event. I'm horrible at WGCs. These no-cut events, I don't do well. So this is where it's okay to understand your weaknesses. Actually, it's a strength because that means your bankroll management is going to be okay. The last thing you want to do is hit the deposit button. And so this is where I'm going to play a lot smaller, play some double ups, and just enjoy it as opposed to trying to really make a killing. And so naturally, I'm probably going to hit big or I would hit big if I bet bigger. It's the way it goes. But Price, on this upper tier breakdown, like you said, all the top players, they're all going to make the cut, right? So that's a plus. So where are you going to differentiate yourself up top?
I think I'm going to go. So I'm going to do 20 lineups again. I think I'm going to go 50% Rory.
Wow.
I don't think he'll be as high owned as the other guys because he hasn't played as well as them. I think people are more inclined to click Xander and Wolf because they're cheaper, or drop down into the 9Ks, or just go up, $200 and play JT. So I think I might be able to get a little bit of ownership leverage there. And then I'm just going to mash the shit out of him and hope he has a Rory, because he's due to have a Rory week. Like, let's be real. He is due to just blitz the field, make a ton of birdies, and just blow everyone away. And what I'm looking at here, he looks about 6% less owned than JT. So he looks like he's going to be the lowest owned player in this range. So me being me, I'm going to attack that in tournaments.
Yeah. I like that call. What about you, Dustin?
Yeah, the two guys I like the best are from this range are JT and Rory. Rory pretty much dominates every category in my model besides putting. So, if he was just averaging that, he's 54th in mine, but then he would be the number one in my model. So I like him. I do like DJ too. Sorry. I do like DJ. DJ, Rory, and Thomas are going to be the three that I look at in the upper tiers. I mean, DJ's just been a little bit ridiculous this year, and both good and bad, right? So it's kind of hard to just go all in on him. But it's a no-cut event, like we said. So somebody like him that can, like Rory, that can just pretty like crazy. So
you mean like you said, not Price?
Yeah, like I said.
Okay. So even if DJ goes out, so if you draft DJ, right, is what you want to do. He shoots 88. He's still gonna make the cut. Is that what you're telling me?
He still is. He might pull it. He might pull it.
He might withdraw though.
Has DJ this year shot an 80-80 back to back?
He has. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and then I think he shot 80 and then withdraw.
Yeah, and then I faded him and he won.
He only shot 30 under that tournament though.
Yeah. So
so much for analytics.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the West Coast kind of love, right? John Rahm from out there. I'm just gonna pick Rahm. I actually feel comfortable with a couple of guys down low, and since my bankroll for this tournament, I'm gonna play. Honestly, I'm probably just gonna play GPPs, not even double ups. I don't really care because I'm gonna play a wild lineup, like a wild one. I think I'm gonna play 2 really low end guys, and have 4 studs, like a Cam Champ. We'll get to my other fun pick of the week later on, but I like going up here with John Rahm. Playing great golf. He's the West Coast swing. He gets the West Coast out there. And
you like the West Coast this week?
Yeah, I like the West Coast this week. Then also, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more breakdown of who I want to take next. Like I could go real crazy and take the one knee Brooks Koepka as well. Rahm Koepka. That'd be something crazy. Yeah, I mean, you just never know, right? Like analytics only go so far, and all these players up top, there's a reason to pick all of them. Matthew Wolff has turned into a really good golfer, and his price now at $10K in a strong field like this, everyone has caught on. So I'm interested to see who Price from the Korn Ferry Tour is able to muster up for us here in this coming new year, because we rode Matthew Wolff pretty hard along with Cantlay. Now they're both really highly priced.
Yes. Speaking of Wolff, PGA Championship 2.2%, Northern Trust 20, BMW 16, 15, and then 26 at the Shriners. So his ownership has been plenty up.
Yeah,
he's gonna be around 20% again this week, just because of the savings you get. You want someone who's gonna score, he can score. So I think people will jump back there and think he won't be as popular. But you also get the 1,300 savings from Rahm, which means instead of like a 6,400 price guy, you then can play, like a Kisner, Lowry, Woodland, Rose, one of those types.
Yeah, but you got Cam Champ there at 6,400. So
yeah,
boy, Cam Champ.
Talk about Woodland in the West Coast, right?
I know, right? But he is coming off a hip injury, so I don't know how he's actually going to play.
Yeah, it could be like Finau and his ankle.
Yeah.
Well, probably not though. Well, all right, so let's get down a little bit lower here. You got a really consistent player with Cantlay. You got a couple iffy plays. You got Brooks in there, like we talked about. But I'm interested to hear what price you have to say about Kawa. This has been your dude. We rode him at the U.S. Open. At least I know I did. I can't remember. I feel like it's been a whirlwind with all these sports going on. But to make a lot of money, he's kind of been dying down, not playing well, it feels like. But this could be another good spot for him.
So he ranks out 7th for me. And this is the only putting surface he gained strokes on. But he is coming off back-to-back missed cuts as well. So I'm hoping due to that,
lower owned,
a little bit lower owned.
Yeah.
Because for someone who had missed one cut in his career leading up to his win at the PGA Tour, he's missed 3 of his last 5.
Well, it is a young career.
But still, in over a year, he missed 1 cut, and now he's missed 3 of the last 5. So, I mean, that right there, and one of them was a no cut is the only reason he made it.
Yeah.
But it would be a little concerning to me, except it's kind of an outlier at the Shriners this past week because he lost 3.5 strokes putting. And I don't see him doing that again. Because if he had just lost 1.5, he makes the cut. I think he's a good play. He's probably my favorite play in the Nikkei range. But part of me just wants to say screw it and use Turtle Hatton instead. Because I love Hatton.
Oh, yeah, I know. I
don't love that he's 9,600 though.
Yeah, he's like an 8K golfer, like 8.5, 8.6 golfer. I hate his price here, and I'm not even looking this way because of his price. I'm with you, Price, with Kawa. And if you're new to golf or if you don't play a ton of golf, the industry has caught on over the last, I would say, year that if somebody misses a cut, that doesn't mean you don't need to play them the next week. And I'm coming around to now, if they miss 2 or 3 cuts in a row, I kind of want to play them even more because I feel like their ownership is lower and they're due to get back to the mean of making the cut. So I don't really care Kala's been missing cut. It doesn't bother me at all. So I think Price is right with the Kala pick. Low ownership. He's at a pretty good price. 9,500 is pretty good. Dustin, is there anybody that in like the lower 9K range that, or even upper 8s that really stands out to you that you're like, yeah, that's who I want to play?
First of all, on the Kala,
Uh-oh.
I disagree with y'all.
Hot take.
I mean, the guy obviously wins the major, and then what has he done? He's missed all these cuts. So maybe his head isn't there. Maybe he's kind of just, that's a huge accomplishment, especially for such a young golfer. And, I mean, for a guy that, like you said, missed 1 cut and then's missed all these other cuts, 2 in a row. I don't want any part of that. I don't really care about the ownership. I'm not paying up for a guy that's not playing that well. I know it's a no-cut event, but the fact of the matter is his form isn't good, and obviously there's probably something else there. And so until he kind of gets it into shape, I don't want it. So, just differing opinions on that, but obviously we won't know until Sunday. So as far as the 8K range goes, lower end, Paul Casey, I know the dude, he freaking always is a thorn in my side, but I really like him. He putts well on the surface, so that's kind of why I like him a little more this week. And he's only 8,000, and pretty solid guy as far as his all-around game. Another 8K guy that I'm intrigued by is Louis. He's at 8,500. Got to do a little more there. I know Jason Day kind of last week missed the cut.
I had 5 or 6 because of Jason Day.
I know. But you said, right, missed 1 missed cut, and so it's like, do you write him off? I mean, he didn't play terrible. The second day kind of bit him Friday, but maybe that was shaking off the rust because I don't think he played a couple tournaments before that. So
he also wasn't in the deep dive. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yes, last week
he was all in our Slack though right before lock, and I was all about that too. I just let the Slack overtake my judgment. Never let that. If you don't know about the Slack, become a member. Join up, DFS Dads. We got a small little family there, about 30 of us. Some more active than others, but Price has a lot of hot takes. You think him not knowing it's a no-cut event is a hot take? Just wait till you get into the Slack. But go to DFS Dads. Check us out. At the very least, you got something in your eye there, Price. At the very least, give us a like. Give us a like on the video. The DFS Dads, Twitter or Facebook. What else were you saying, Dustin?
I was gonna say the other guy I like lower mid range is Finau. Obviously, last week he withdrew because of COVID, and kind of interesting that he's already back this week. But just another one of those guys that can score. He's kind of at a price point where you don't mind taking him. Obviously, the winning is always brought up with him, but really his weakness is putting. So if he can get that obviously he's super long and good pretty much everywhere else. So that's kind of the feelers that are out there right now for those kind of guys.
And he had a story come out about when he was younger playing in Vegas.
Yeah.
And he would play with his brother in a skins game, and they didn't have enough money to cover it, and they were getting their ass kicked, so he had to fucking play lights out the last 5 holes.
That's a pretty good. I haven't seen that story. That's pretty awesome. Yeah,
they came back and he ended up making money.
They didn't have money to cover it.
And he was worried because he was like, we're going to lose, and I'm going to be known as the guy who can't cover his bets. And so he just turned it on, played lights out, and they fucking hustled some $100 bills out of their friends.
I mean, I can't believe we haven't talked about our boy Sergio. who we've been on the last couple of weeks after his round one. He talked about how great his game and form was, and you could just see it, just see him doing well. We wrote him out for Showdown for the last 3 days, made us some money. Then he won the tournament last week again, playing well. He's playing well. 8,400 too. Great price. Great price.
Yeah, and if you look at last week, I think he got 41st, 43rd, and it was because of his putting. Everywhere else, I mean, he was really good. I think it was like second tee to green, and so, and you look at the week before when he won, and he was positive in putting, 2 strokes gained, and then the Shriners he was lost 2 strokes. So if the putting's there, his game right now is really good, and so for a guy that's at 8,400 and has all those intangibles going for him right now, I mean, hard not to like him this week. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, I think he's for sure a viable option, especially at 8,400 for how he's been playing.
Yeah, I think Sergio is an amazing cash play. I'm not gonna play a lot of cash, but I think he's a really good cash play. I think there's a ton of people in this range. Just skip all the way down, and this 8K range and lower 9K range is just chock full of great cash game plays.
I mean, it's all it's the best players in the world for the most part, outside of, a couple like Bryce mentioned, Bryson and Reed. So you are going to have, these really good golfers. They seem, underpriced, but kind of look at
I think there's going to be a dead zone with how you build too, because like realistically, from Harris English at 8,600 down to Kisner at 7,500, there's only like 2 or 3 guys that I really feel like using. And because of how I'm constructing lineups this week, because I want to use the top end guys, I'm just going to skip a lot of the other people. Like there's no point in using Brendan Todd, who we write up to fade every week and then he does well.
Yeah.
Or Answer or Fowler or Rowe. Like
Scotty.
I like Scotty. I'll have Scotty in 3 of 20 lineups. But I mean, I will really like Sergio this week. He's great form. He's doing well. If he's just mediocre putting, he does well.
Yeah.
What's scary is everybody who I highlighted and looked at, they're all atrocious at putting.
I know.
And it's because they're so great at every other freaking metric you look at. I mean, Sergio is phenomenal at ball striking. Paul Casey's phenomenal at ball striking. Even Morikawa, phenomenal at ball striking. And then you got Hideki at 9,200, who's top 10 at everything except putting.
Yep.
64th in putting. But God, dude, they're so good at everything else. They just literally have to be mediocre, and they top 10.
I'll never forget that putt. It was earlier in the year. I forget which tournament. Sergio and he putted and it broke the opposite way of the hole.
That's why he putts with his eyes closed now.
You're like, what the hell? Like, okay, I understand if maybe it's just you, but you have a caddy. Like, sure, no way I can see that.
Because to be fair, I don't know which way it breaks either. I just guess every time I put it.
Yeah, if I was on the PGA Tour, I would literally have my caddy read everything, like point, this is exactly where you hit it every single time. I can't read a green worth it.
Webb Simpson.
Well, yeah, Webb Simpson and it's so crazy how Webb will take forever to figure out what he's going to do with putting wise. He just gets up and putts it, right? He doesn't do any practice. He just goes. But I don't know. At what point?
With every other shot.
At what point, Price, like Brendan Todd, do metrics not
Mississippi
matter?
Internet cutting out.
Dirty Mississippi. No.
All right, he's back.
All right.
Yeah, Brendan Todd, the metrics don't matter.
Yeah, like at what point does it not matter about the metrics? Because that's one thing I feel like I've done a bad job at is looking at the metrics too much and not playing someone like a Brendan Todd who week after week I'm like top 10, top 10, top 10. It's at 260, top 10. I'm like, man.
So yeah, he does that, but it's usually not in stacked fields.
Yeah.
But this is by far his best surface for putting. Like he gains almost 0.6 strokes versus the field on bent as opposed to any other surface.
And that's a huge stat. Like that's something that is so easy for the average person to just gloss over. It's 0.6. It's, it's putting. That's a big deal, especially with, yes, it's 7,500 yards, but it's not the altitude and it's going to roll out. It's not as long as you think it is, of course. This is not Aaron Hills.
Yeah, let me give you some stats on Brendan Todd for the past 3 tournaments. Strokes gained putting 6.9, 2.1, and 6.4.
He defies logic.
I mean, that's what he does great. Everything else, he's kind of average or below average, and then he just putts the hell out of the ball. I mean, it isn't an anomaly either. Ever since the WGC 6.7.4, where he missed a cut, by the way. On Northern Trust, he lost a stroke and finished 64th. And then went 8th, 20th, 23rd with the stats I just mentioned earlier. So if his putting's good, I mean, he's going to be there. But that's the downside to him, right? If he's not putting well, then you're screwed. Especially at a scoring event like this, where there's no missed cut.
Would you rather play someone really cheap like a Russell Henley because he can score high, or Brendan Todd?
Oof. I think probably Todd than Henley, because at this point they've kind of proven like they are who they are. Like Henley's good at everything except putting. Todd's mediocre at everything except he's phenomenal at putting. And so all you need is like 2 rounds from Todd where he's above average with his irons. And with that putter, he's going to position himself to finish top 15. Whereas Henley, no matter what, his putting goes cold, he's done.
Yeah.
He'll finish top 30 for us, but Todd has higher upside due to his ability to catch fire putting.
Yeah. And I think this is, and I don't like harping on Todd so much, right? Just one golfer in this huge stacked field. But I think it's important points that Price is making, that the putting matters and you can take a lot from a good putter. And we think of upside as someone like a Russell Henley or someone who can just hit the ball lights out. But at the same time, even if you're hitting the ball lights out, you're not putting that many balls 3 feet and just tap in birdies. You're 1 or 2 around maybe.
Yeah, if
Brendan Todd is more expensive than Woodland, Lowry, Rose. I mean, Price's boy Spieth. That's crazy to me. Crazy.
I mean, Spieth is 7,300, and it's a raging sell. Like I ain't playing no Spieth. I don't care. He has to be min price for me to play him.
That's your UT hatery coming in right there, man.
No,
because he's garbage everywhere except Augusta and the Colonial. That's it. He sucks everywhere else.
Facts.
Hey, I'm throwing Jordan
Spieth is back.
this week.
Spieth is back.
See what you did there.
Okay. I'll give it to him. He's gonna make the cut, right, Price?
He probably won't. He'll kick him out.
All right, so let's move on. Enough Brandon Todd talk. So, do you think Todd? All right, here we go. 7K range here. It's not even funny. My jokes are not funny. All right, yeah. Shane Lowry. I've been going back to the Shane Lowry pick recently, and he's been burning me a bunch. I kind of want to go back to him again. I love watching the guy play. It's hard not to root for him, and he has the potential to go low.
How low?
Can you go?
I don't know, man. Like, he's difficult because he's a easy guy to root for, because you look at him, you're like, that's no way he's a professional golfer. He just goes out and has a good time and plays. I'd rather drop down to Jocko, save $100, go to Neiman. He rates out better for me. But if it was a more difficult track, then I'd probably look at Lowry. That's where he kind of, he's earned his chops is on hard courses. But on this one, I don't think it'll be as hard as average tour, I think it'll be a little bit easier. And he's not really someone who, in my mind, pops at like a birdie fest, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. We're gonna completely skip Jordan Spieth. Then you got Bubba and Billy Ho and Siwoo and Russell Henley. I think that is a awesome little 4 or 5 golfer mix right there. Awesome, and I want all parts of it.
All parts?
No, because I would fill up my whole lineup.
You left off Poulter, dude.
Nah.
My boy. He's a birdie or bogey guy. That's what you want.
He's another guy who I was actually joking about this with one of my coworkers. He was like, look, Poulter's only missed 3 cuts this year. It's every time I've rostered him, he's missed the fucking cut. I'm like, oh my, like what are the odds? I picked a steady Eddie grinder and he has his worst tournament every time I pick him.
I lived on Ian at the beginning of the year.
I know you did. And then I tried to, nuzzle up to that little home there and I got fucking rejected 3 times.
You messed up my good thing, man.
But man, I love Bubba. He's ever since I saw that music video with him and Fowler and Mahan, he's been one of my favorites.
Yeah. I just love how he's taking a caravan everywhere all around the country.
And he's cheap. He's 7,300.
And he's been playing pretty good. So.
And he's a birdie guy. Oh, yes. God. It's so high.
Another putter. Great putter.
And like, I hate Billy Horschel.
Billy Ho!
With a passion. I think he's an a-hole. Him on Twitter is the worst. But
so you're playing him.
I want to play him because he rates out well. Because money trumps everything else, which is why Dustin should never play Jordan Spieth again.
I don't really play Jordan Spieth. I just like to give y'all a hard time about it. But he is intriguing to me this week just because he's super blue. But his form right now has just been atrocious.
Yeah. It's like he's not good at golf anymore. Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing to me is he had that good run and it's like he just fell off a cliff. Just like
I mean, Dustin, you literally just said, no, I don't actually play him, but I really like him this week. Come on, man. Just say I'm gonna play him. I got my orange cap on. I'm gonna play him.
We'll play Scotty and Spieth, baby. So, no, I like Rose too this week. I think he's in a good spot for his price. I mean, he's been playing with those new freaking clubs for long enough. He should have it figured out, right? And then, like I said, Ian. I mean, I really like this range. Paul Casey up at 8,000. So yeah, I see a lot of value here, especially if you want to go with 2 of the top guys. Kind of come down here to, obviously not a Spieth and Ian like me, but maybe a Bubba and a Billy Ho. So
yeah,
or Munoz.
Sebastian.
I like him at 700 or 7,000 even.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good golfer. That's a good pick. Let's. You want to talk about Munoz and then move on down?
Just back-to-back top 27s. Going into the playoffs, he went 18th, 8th, 8th. Made the cut at the U.S. Open. So, I mean, he's, that's 6 straight made cuts. 7K. He makes a cut, he pays off. Or not makes a cut, but he finishes top 35-ish. Top 40. Which he should have the upside to do. I mean, I think he's in just as good a spot as like Louis O and Harris English of finishing around there, and he's significantly cheaper than them.
Yeah.
Look at my boy Cooch all the way down here.
6,200. He's 25th on DraftKings points, and without a cut, you want DK points.
Played well last week. What do you get? 30th, 34th. His approach, his irons weren't great, but his putting, he gained 3 strokes. You could get worse players at 6,900, especially just somebody that's been doing it for forever.
Like Corey Connors at 6,900.
I do like Corey Connors too, though. But I'm just saying, Cooch y'all taught me out of him last week, and the dude finished 34th. So I was kind of spiteful for y'all for that.
Yeah.
But,
I love this range. 6,200 Gooch. Pencil
Good.
me in. Then you got 6,400, and I am in love with this golfer, Cam Champ. I don't care. Number one off the tee, and he's a West Coast guy as well. So I pencil me in there. I actually might go 3 6K guys and then 3 just absolute studs, and just have some fun. Then you have 6,500 Keegan Bradley, who talk about putting. And you know what, in the 6K range, out of all the things I saw that was interesting, was Kevin Streelman is 18th on DraftKings points. 18th at 6,500. That's someone who I don't think scores a lot of points, but I guess he does. I wouldn't have thought that.
Birdie Fests.
Yeah. And what's this going to be?
Should be a Birdie Fest.
So you should put a star next to that guy's name.
I have one. You know who doesn't have a star? It's the guy who you're saying the reason you don't like these metrics and analytics is because none of them like Cam Champ.
That's true.
They haven't liked him in like 10 months since last fall season when he was playing against scrubs.
He made me a lot of money at the US Open.
You mean the PGA?
PGA. Correct.
You know what? Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Cliche alert. Jeez.
I'm just saying. I think you already did that 2 times this year by using him.
All right. Well, also, we got to talk about our play of the week last week that we made a YouTube video on. Ryan Palmer. He's now 6,700. He paid off, did really good. So if you're not, once again, you're watching this video on the tube, hit the subscribe button. We give out free plays. We're starting to make more and more videos from different positions in NFL to our favorite golfers of the week. And last week we did Ryan Palmer. He paid off big time.
He
This week, 6,700, 67. Talk to me, Price. Talk to me.
He has a star right next to his name too, because once again, he's underpriced.
Dustin,
he's the only guy who could do that good and then drop in price like that.
Dustin, you know who else is underpriced? The same price?
Who?
Adam Hadwin.
Adam Hadwin, your boy.
Look at that.
Yep. It's crazy, isn't it?
And you know what he actually does well?
Putts.
He actually putts well.
We found one.
It only took this entire pod. We found someone we like who can actually putt.
All right, let's finish this up with some strategy around this tournament, because if you're not heavy into golf, we have a lot of subs that sub to us because of football, and it's actually making money on golf because they don't know any of the players, so they don't have opinions on anything. They just take our plays, insert them in, and they cash. So this tournament is going to be different than a lot of others because of the no-cut event and not a lot of golfers, smaller field. It's also a tournament that if you do get very analytical, there's not tournament history here, right? So I think it's in a lot of ways more of a gut feel. And some of these players we haven't seen play in a little bit. They haven't played. So what's your like 1 or 2 takeaways from each of y'all that when you start going and building these, that this is the way I want to build and structure my lineup? Because I think that's very important this week.
I'll let Dustin go first on that one.
Yeah, well, for me, I like I said, I'm in a no-cut event. I'm looking for guys that can score. I'm not so much concerned as much with, a safer play type guy that I would take in another tournament. And so looking at DK points, obviously, as one of them to, who's out there getting the points, and obviously position applies to DK points. But like I said, with Ian Poulter, right, just off the top of my head, he's a guy that he'll have, 8 birdies one round and 5 bogeys, but he's still getting those points, as opposed to the same guy that's 3 under might have, 4 birdies and 1 bogey. And so Ian Poulter's going to get more points than that guy. So that's kind of the takeoff for me. I want guys that are good form coming in. And, we're at a point in the season where most of these guys have played quite a bit now, and so you kind of know what they're doing coming in. So those are kind of the 2 points I'm hitting on this week, and building my lineup kind of around that. Now, whether I start a top heavy approach and then take some lower end guys, that's where the research is going to come in this week. Trying to figure out how I'm going to build it as far as how their pricing points are. And that's going to be the hardest part this week because you got so many good golfers. It might be one of those weeks where you do the MME like price and kind of, get a core group of guys and build some lineups with mass entry.
So the hardest part about doing the MME this week is wanting to be top heavy on Rory and then still liking some guys in the 9K range is not having the same low 6 or mid 6 guy in like half the lineups. Because just playing all around on it, like right now I'm looking at it and I wanted to go like 10% Gooch and I created 20 lineups and it gave me 35%. And so like that's way too much Taylor Gooch. Like no matter how he rates out at someone 6,200, it's too much on that. You don't need to be 7 times the field on somebody like that. So I think this is a great week to play around with MME.
Yep.
Because usually, like if I make 20 lineups, you want to keep it maybe like 20 to 22 people at the most. But on like this, you could even expand that a little bit so you have a little more variations. And then be able to attack not only multiple guys at the top who you like, but then even just like a lineup of 9K, 8K, and 6K guys. So it's random. But I really do think one of the top 5 guys are going to win. I think it's a terrible betting week because you're going to get bad odds. And I don't see someone really besides Rory, JT, DJ, or Rom winning. Like maybe Xander if he gets hot, but I mean those 4 guys are dominant, and I don't see anyone beating them this week.
Yeah, those are good observations. One thing I'll say that I think that I get wrong, and probably talking through this, I get wrong as well, is that there's no cut event, so you can go crazy up top and crazy down low. But at the same time, these guys wouldn't have made the cut because they are sucking. Having 1 extra day or 2 extra day does not mean that they're going to start turning it around and doing well. In a lot of events like these WGCs, I'm like, well, Thursday and Friday, this guy is plus 20 in 2 rounds. Well, at least he has the weekend to turn around, and he ends up like plus 30 at the end of the weekend, giving you doing absolutely nothing. So in a way, you could be like, well, you could think of it as a cut event, and I need to get 6 golfers to make the cut. It could be a contrarian way to build because I think a lot of people, including myself, go way too overboard with let's just pick 6 explosive golfers. And so I think the takeaways from these observations are something that I hope you took something from. And if you did, I hope that helps you build your lineups this week. And you got to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And I'm not the best at the no cut events or WGCs or whatever. So I'm not going to play as much. I'm probably going to do what Price is doing, the MME, and have a little fun with it, and just do the very, I don't know what 25-cent, $1 ones for 20 lineups. Have fun like that, and then have one crazy GPP lineup I play in like it's a $33 and maybe another single entry. But that's about it. Any final words before we wrap up? I can't wait for the deep dive Wednesday. That's going to be fun.
So on this, how you talked about trying to, instead of doing like superstars and scrubs, just like with how we talk about playing out stuff in your mind for football, you got to think, can this guy legitimately top 30? Because you're going to have to have 6 of 6 through. If you don't pick the winner, you got to have 6 of 6 in the top 12 to top 15. And so when you're looking at someone like, let's say Dahmen, Streelman, like, can they top 30 in this field where most of the top 30 in the world are here? So then you want to go back and find someone who's done well in a stronger field and seeing that they can actually do it. And so that's a good way to attack a no cut, is not only just trying to cram in the studs, but trying to pick guys who you think will be there at the end of Sunday and be able to be in the top 25 for you.
Mm-hmm. I think a good example of that is someone that's cheap, like a Bubba Watson.
Yep.
He can easily be in the top 30, top 10. He's easily, and it's not like, oh man.
And someone like Keegan Bradley, who can come out and have like, back-to-back 63, 64s, and then have like a 5-over day, doesn't necessarily kill you in this event.
Yeah, especially so like the U.S. Open, where there's only 2 people under par, and not to take any more time up here, but final position mattered a lot. Here, it's not going to matter as much because there's so many opportunities that if you do shoot a 62, 64, and then if you have a 78, it doesn't necessarily matter because your points have been made. Where at a tournament that it's 2 golfers under par for the whole tournament, because final position means a lot. I think the guy who won the Millie even had a missed cut because there were so few points had there. Where this isn't going to be probably a below average course for a PGA Tour event. It's a lot more scoring than the U.S. Open. So
because it really only matters top 5, because it's like 40 for first, 30 for second, etc. Then once you get down, the difference between like 6th and 11th is 1.5, like 1 birdie and an extra par.
Yeah.
So you have some guy who makes 2 birdies, it covers it.
Yeah, and then past that, it definitely don't matter. All right, let's not take up any more time. Appreciate y'all. We need like an outro. Like, well, I don't know what to say. What do you got? Anybody? Nothing.
Yeah.
Texas is back.
Hey, we might still win the conference like the Cowboys.
Y'all did real good on Saturday.
Hey, it's a shitty conference.